Good night to Liberta. Good night to the people of St. Paul. I am here tonight to tell you that on the 12th of June, there is only one choice, and it's Elliston Number Adams all the way. My brothers and sisters, when I listen to Sister Joanne Messiah, she made the case convincingly as to why we cannot take a chance with Chet Green, Assad Michael, Gaston Brown, and a lot of them. This country is too precious for us to take that chance. If you see Chet Green and you want to get him vexed, just say foul. Just say foul. Can you imagine? He must be the first Antiguan to get a whole chapter in a book about football, and they're not saying anything good about him. We can't take a chance with a man who everywhere he has worked, everything he has done, some kind of mix-up and some kind of talking. But one thing about him, he's very slick. He hardly leaves his fingerprint or anything. Is a man who talks slick. But when I listened to Mervyn earlier, Mervyn says a man, when you shake your hand, you have to count your fingers. We don't want that type of representation. On the other hand, we say character matters. Number Adams is a man that brings character to the table at this election. So we are going to give our full support to our brother Elliston Number Adams. Number Adams is a proven patriot of Antigua and Barbuda. He's a man who, even before he went into politics, he was involved in community activities. I want to tell you, it's not slick talking that do this thing. It is the meaningfulness with which you carry out your duties, is the love that you have for people, is the sincerity. So when you want to find a leader, you want to find a leader who you can trust. And I ask anybody, can you trust Chet Green? I want to hear you, man. Can you trust Chet Green? When I was here the last time, I said, if you were asking a relative in the United States to send some money for you, and they said there are 2 men in the airport, but I want you to give one of them, would you give Chet Green the money to bring to you in Antigua? You would not take a chance like that because you're not sure what's going to happen to the money. It's as simple as that. It's nothing personal. It's a clear case of trust. That's all I'm talking about. It's a clear case of trust. Now, I want to talk to you about Gaston Brown and some of these big promises you hear him making. Now, everybody hear him talking about the 500 houses in 500 days. Now, I took the time over the last few weeks to talk to a number of contractors to ask them about these 500 houses in 500 days. Now, I want to go through the promise that he has made. He said he's going to employ 50 contractors. He's going to employ 250 workers. Now, let's work it out. If you employ 250 workers and you're going to build 500 houses, in 2 years, because 500 days is about 2 years in terms of working days. Now, assume you pay each worker $100 a day. I know you can't pay certain tradesmen $100 a day, but I'm just keeping it low. Because some people are going to want $140 and $150. Because if you're a skilled mason, nobody can pay you $100 a day. But keep it at $100 a day. Now at $100 a day, over 500 days, if you work that out and you multiply that by 250 people, you following me? You know how much you get? You get $125 million. Now, 250 workers for 500 days at $100 per day. Labor costs alone is $125 million. You know, when I worked it out with some of my colleagues, they say, no, that had to be wrong. So I say, use your calculator. They use their calculator. $125 million. When you divide that by 500 houses, it's $250 per house. Just for labor alone. Labor alone would be $250 for the house. Now, you have to include your material costs. Up to now, he wouldn't say what type of material. Lennox Western says block house they're going to build. So if you're going to build block house, and time you add the other costs that would be incurred, the backhoe costs, the site preparation, all the other overhead costs, the equipment rental, transportation, the insurance, you have to take out medical benefits and social security. And remember, you know, the contractor don't put in his piece yet. So if you add 10% for the contractor, I want to tell you that the promise that he has made to the people of this country, that he's going to be able to do that and sell the house for $140,000, it's the biggest lie that has been told for this whole election campaign. There's no way that he can sell it for $140,000. The cost alone for labor is $250,000. And when you add everything up, that house is going to cost at least $400,000. So where he going to pull those houses? Where he going to put them? Those houses are not for poor people. Those houses are maybe for the neighbors up in Hodges Bay where he lives. But when he talks about providing affordable housing and creating 2,500 jobs, it is nothing but his imagination, and he's trying to fool the people of Antigua and Barbuda. Now I want to tell you, Gaston Brown may have book sense, but he has no common sense. And I want to tell people like Zambai, I hear him on the radio. Zambai, poor Zambai. Zambai must be waiting for one of those jobs. But Zambai, I have to tell you, you might dead from hungry if you're waiting on Gaston and his program. Because that program that he is putting forward is pie in the sky. It will never work. I want Gaston Brown to tell the people of Antigua and Barbuda, if you employ 2,500 people at a minimal cost of $100 a day, where is the money going to come from? Now that $125 million, is he going to raid Social Security? Is he going to raid medical benefits? So what's going to happen to you when you get sick? What's going to happen to your pension? Oh my goodness me. We need to think about what this man is putting before us. He is deceitful. He is dishonest. He does not think things through. Now, if he can make such a big mistake with this 500 house in 500 days, which he's never put a cost to, where he's never shown you the side work, that is how he gonna run this country. That is the reason why he went over to Jennings. Obviously didn't think how he's gonna run the supermarket. And in less than no time, he had to get a Chinese man to take over the same supermarket that he couldn't run. And today, that supermarket is being run by someone else because he was incapable of running that supermarket. The fault with Gaston Brown, he likes to talk numbers, but he does not think the numbers through. He's loose when it comes to figures. He claims to be this genius when it comes to numbers, but as I said, he have book sense, but he have no common sense. We cannot risk the future of our children in the hands of a man like Gaston Brown. We cannot risk all the gains that we have accomplished over the last 10 years in the hands of men like Gaston Brown and Chet Green. And I want you to think further that just like he did not think through his harebrained program, it is the same way that he will approach every problem that he faces in government. He has never had a full ministry. He doesn't know what it is like to run a ministry. Talk is cheap. But I'm asking the people of this country, when you vote for a team, you're voting for the UPP team. You're voting for the UPP team led by a stable, a sound, and a mature leader in the person of the Honorable Dr. Winston Baldwin Spencer. Leadership matters. And leadership matters because when a leader is called upon to make decisions that will affect the lives of the people of this country, that leader must have sound and mature judgment. Not a leader who is going to throw figures around, try to fool people, come up with all sorts of harebrained plans and schemes that will never work. We do not want that type of leadership in Antigua and Barbuda going forward. On election day, when you go into the election booth, you will be voting for Number Adams, Elliston Adams, who is part of a sound, sober, and mature team. You will be voting for a government. It is not just a representative, because number seat is important in order for us to form the government and to make sure that we get a clean sweep and put to rest those gangsters and scoundrels who are posing as candidates and coming in the guise of the Antigua Labour Party. The time has come for us to drive the final nail in the coffin of these fakes, phonies, and counterfeits. The time is now, brothers and sisters. We only have a few more days. But when you go to vote, think of the United Progressive Party when you think of Elliston Adams. Think of all the progress we have made. Think of the social programs. Think of the care for the elderly, the pensioners. Think of the scholarships. Think of all the good things this government has done. And think, brothers and sisters, of the future. The future is a bright future under the United Progressive Party. Just today in Cabinet, we approved another 3 projects that came before us. This country is taking off. I can't wait for that airport to finish. Gonna be the best airport in the whole of the Eastern Caribbean. I can't wait for those projects to get going, to hear the backhoe rolling. I can't wait to hear the hammer pounding. And I can't wait to see all the contractors, men like Zambai, and tell him, come over, man. Come over. This is where the action is. This is the government of the future. This is the government that will create the opportunities for all the contractors in Antigua and Barbuda. We have the housing revolution where we will provide low-cost, affordable housing, 100% mortgage, well thought out, a solid program and a solid plan to give housing to our people in a sound and secure way. Oh, the future is bright. Brothers and sisters, we must reject the fake, reject the phony, reject the counterfeit, and go for the real deal. Namba Adams is the real deal. Namba Adams stands on the platform of the United Progressive Party. Brothers and sisters, the future belongs to all of us. Long live Antigua and Barbuda under the leadership of the United Progressive Party and Baldwin Spencer. No turning back, no retreat, no surrender, onward ever, forward ever, backward never. One love, blessed love, until I come again.